Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about that super awkward, high emotional time period known as puberty. Puberty. It's usually really awkward for people, and a lot of things are changing and happening, and I figure we can talk about it. I'll share some of my kind of embarrassing stories. There's been a lot of research in the last couple years to show that puberty is actually starting a lot earlier than it used to. Girls usually start puberty a little bit earlier than boys, and nowadays puberty is actually starting even earlier for girls, sometimes before the ages of 10 and sometimes 8 years old even. Boys starting around 10 or 11, with the average of both kind of being between 12 and 14. But it doesn't mean you're going to start at that time, because you can actually go all the way up to like 16, 17, 18 and hit puberty then. I actually had friends that represented these two extremes. Like, I had one friend who hit puberty at about the age of 9. I had another friend who hit puberty at the age of 17. When you hit puberty varies vastly, but you will hit it, don't worry. Your body's being basically flooded with all different hormones and everything else, so expect mood swings, because it's just this huge whirlwind of feelings and emotions and everything. It's just extremes and lows and highs and sometimes in the middle, but they just seem to go everywhere. At least that's how it was for me. I felt like I had like an internal hurricane of emotions just spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. Some people more than others. Some people just get really introverted and they get really dark and gloomy, which I was actually really dark and gloomy myself. We're all black and I was like, oh, I'm gonna show my feelings and my emotions that way. The feeling of needing to find your identity and nobody gets you and I'm so different from everybody in the world is really normal. I felt it. Almost everybody's going through that. Partly to do with society pushing roles onto people, but I think it's also part of just being that age. All those emotions going around, like I know I felt like just nobody understood me. And don't worry, because the emotional side of stuff will even out in the end. Your life is still going to be emotional and dramatic as you move forward, but you're going to be able to deal with it better. and then this weird thing called hair starts growing all over your body. For women, a little bit less than men, sometimes, but not all the time. As a girl, you can grow hair over your entire body. Don't be ashamed if you have arm hair, or if you have leg hair, like on your upper thighs or anywhere, or stomach, or that's normal. That's perfectly fine. As a guy, you could still have no hair practically, or you can be like me and be like a giant forest. I remember when I was younger, it was one of those things, I was in 6th grade or so, and it was always oh, I have a happy trail. Look at this little patch of hair that goes all the way up my belly button kind of thing. But for me, I'm a hairy guy, and my friend Ian used to always kind of joke that, everyone else had happy trails, but I had a happy highway. Because by that point, my entire stomach and going onto my chest was already covered in hair. I can't help it if I look like Chewbacca. That's who I am. And I've accepted that fact, and I don't let anybody put me down for it either. For guys, you start to have erections. In the beginning, it can be almost really hard to control because you have all these emotions and feelings and everything else, and it seems like it just comes out of nowhere. We had situations like me where there's 12, 13-year-old me not knowing exactly what's socially acceptable or not. I was at a friend's house playing video games with him and his brothers and stuff. I didn't know at that point that it wasn't really acceptable to just have an erection out there for everyone to see, and I did, and it was really awkward, and I didn't know why everything was awkward because I kind of thought that it was supposed to be that way and it was okay and it was fine, but I never got invited back to his house to play. And looking back on it, I now realize because I was sitting in a room with him and his brothers with an erection and it was just awkward, and I didn't know, but if I had known ahead of time that okay, it's not really socially acceptable to be oh, here's my erection, I would have been better off. First go into puberty and you're kind of going through it. This is when your body also really grows. Now some people grow taller, some people don't. Really have a look at your parents, see how tall they are and everything. That'll kind of give you a basis to go off of. For guys, you grow taller, your shoulders might widen, or you might stay kind of short, and you know what, that's perfectly natural. For girls, this is usually when you develop breasts and when your hips kind of get a little bit bigger, and this is again perfectly natural. And for girls, don't think that just because you're getting hips or something means that you're fat, because that's not what that means at all. Your body is just developing to who you're going to be as a woman. Voices change as well, more so for boys and girls, but it happens for both. You get that kind of squeaky voice, which actually comes from your voice box growing, and so it's compensating for the growth and the awkwardness, but that'll get over too. And I forgot about acne. Acne sucks really bad. I'm fine now that I'm 24 years old, but when I was younger, I had acne really bad. And unfortunately, it's just one of those things that you have to deal with. And I hate to have to say that, but it's true and it sucks. and I'm sorry. Puberty in general is not the most fun thing in the world, but it does pass, it does all kind of even out, and it does get better. If you have any questions at all, leave down below, and if you have any experiences that you think might help anybody else who's going through it, leave it down below as well. I love to chat and have a conversation about it. And with that, I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.